This is going to be controversial here, but while I'm thinking about it, there is a hurricane of tremendous proportion coming right now. I think it's Hurricane Florence or something. I'm in Richmond, Virginia on business travel, and it just reminds me the value that contractors have, whether it's an electrical contractor, a roofing contractor, any type of energy contractor, the huge value they have right now to the economy. I know the trades are suffering and that there aren't that many people available to do work, but when the power goes out, I heard one news report on NPR where they're talking about a severe power outages. They're evacuating the Eastern Shore. I need to call my brother over in Hampton Roads area because the storm is coming. But here is the importance. This what you got to understand, and it's going to sound, to a lot of liberals, it's going to sound like you're taking advantage of people. But the fact of the matter is if there's an economic opportunity immediately after the storm, which there is, and I'm going to show you how to take advantage of it and profit from it, the same way that your customers, the people you help, are going to take advantage of profit from you because you're going to be able to bring them back online as quickly as possible. Now, I have a system called the emergency marketing system. It's all about disaster recovery marketing. It's about being ready for storms. I learned the system from a company in the Hampton Roads area that made millions and millions of dollars in net cash. In fact, I was talking with a roofing contractor, and guess what his problem was? Real first world problem. He had $1 million in cash in the bank. Now, first thing I recommended is not put it in the bank because they're only going to FDIC is only going to cover 250,000. But here's the deal: he had $1 million net. He installed his company up and down the East Coast, installed 300 roofs. Think about this. Now, the unique advantage, I'm not going to go into the details of what they did, but the unique advantage that made it possible for him to do so many roofs was his back end system. Now, he did a couple things that helped the homeowner because this is the worst time for a homeowner. A homeowner's roof's been blown off in a storm, and this was the big storm that took out power in New York. I've written about the other storms. If you're interested in the hurricane marketing system or the disaster recovery marketing plan, I've mentioned it for the years. In fact, oh my God, for years I've been teaching clients how to do this and how to make big money from big storms. Now, this person had $1 million in cash. Now, he didn't like my answer, and that's okay, but I really wanted him to shore up his business because guess what? Storms come every year. Now, we forget because we have such tiny media cycles, we forget there was a storm just last year at the same time, last August, last September. But the key here to understand, though, is if you do this the right way, I'm trying not to shake the camera around too much. If you do this the right way, what's going to put my other hand here? Anyway, if you do this the right way, you will serve customers in a way that cannot be imagined. You don't have to scalp. You don't have to price hike. You don't have to be those little jerks that run around and do crappy, shitty work. In fact, you can do quality work and you can be in a safety position. For example, electrical contractors. My method teaches that you go in to first and serve first responders first. You get in there and make sure first responders are back online quickly, schools are back online, medical facilities are back online. Think about that service, that value to customers. Now, there's a large logistical element to it that you've got to understand. So, for example, procurement strategy is important. When there's a giant storm, supplies and materials will not be readily available. There's a human element that you have to be aware of. When people are suffering from storms, they don't necessarily care about the power if they've got issues of medical need, water, those types of things. Everybody's going to demand generators, but wouldn't it be great if they had generators before they got started? And what about those companies and businesses that have generators, but they don't go online for some reason? So there's pre-storm activities, there's actual storm activities, and then there's post-storm activities. And I know, see, this is the problem with people today. They're not that bright, and they're going to bitch and complain. If you set up, and there's ways of doing it, but if you set up to help people in the storm, they're going to say, "Oh, you're an opportunist. Oh, you've taken advantage of people." Who's taking it? If you come in for the state and local government and you get utility infrastructure back online, you get medical centers back online, you get fire departments, law enforcement, government offices back online. You get commercial businesses back online, and then people bitch and complain about that. It's not your fault that they're retarded. It's not your fault that they are unable to comprehend the value of you've lost everything, but guess what? You still have a place to go to work. So at least you have an opportunity to get back on track. Insurance companies love the contractors that use my system to help people get back online because paperwork is filed correctly in a timely fashion. Also, you get paid because even though people are, in a bad situation, there's a certain element of the population that always has the money in cash in order to pay for necessary services. So, for example, your state and federal government, they're going to get FEMA money, and they're also going to have local funds, but also affluent communities, country clubs, um, golf courses tend to have the funds available. Not always golf courses because they're having some problems, but they tend to have the funds available to get essential infrastructure back online. And this is a thing that you do year round, but it's especially most important right now. In fact, right now, if you'll contact my offices, I'll open back up the opportunity I had for my command center that any electrical contractor, solar installer, generator services company, any energy services company, internet provider, or a networking services provider, if during the storm you need help with the logistics of the business development element, I will open up live chats on a daily basis if necessary to make sure you get the answers you need so that not only you serve the customer today, but you've positioned yourself for a future. See, the storm doesn't give a damn what color you are. The storm doesn't give a damn what socioeconomic level you're at. The storm doesn't give a damn about anything other than just tearing shit up. Okay, when that storm hits the coast, there's a lot of, and if you guys who've been with me for a while, who've seen a lot of the videos, they're kind of hidden. That I don't put out a lot because I use profanity and a lot. It's just I irritate people. I understand that. But this is an important message. That's why you've gotten this message today. But here's a point. A lot of the environmental things, for example, don't buffer the storms like they used to. We've built houses all the way up the coast, and the storms don't get buffered by wetlands. So the storms are coming in further and further in line. That's not your fault, okay? That's not you didn't do this to people, but you're most equipped. You're most powered. A lot of veterans own contracting businesses. Veterans can handle combat situations. They can handle a storm situation. They can organize. They can prepare. And I'm not asking you to do this as a volunteer because you could just as easily be a victim of the storm as the business down the street. But I don't want you to be a victim. I want you to be a victor. If you have questions about how to prepare from a business development standpoint for the storm that's coming right now, if you've got questions about how to be ready for your customers post storm, when it comes to marketing campaigns, when it comes to awareness campaigns, when it comes to safety, for example, before you can enter a house that's been flooded, you need to check the electrical. There's environments where you'd have to shut down. I did a lot of work in data centers, and if you know my story, I've hired a lot of electrical contractors. I've hired a lot of contractors all across the Mid Atlantic area. I've fired a lot of contractors across the Mid Atlantic area. I managed big projects. Here's the deal: most of the small contractors in your area don't know how to manage big projects. And if you can manage big projects, you can do what's called subjugate your competitors. So this storm could be the opportunity for you to acquire new businesses in other jurisdictions and districts. It could be an opportunity for you to help a brother or a friend or help somebody who's connected to you through fraternal or through experiential, like a fellow veteran. And then more importantly, from the public relations aspect, which if you're in an impacted storm area, okay, I will write press releases for you. All you got to do is share your story. I'll write press releases, I'll get them out into the media, and then just make yourself available. I'll coach you on how to handle the calls, but just make yourself available. These storms only come once a year. Now, in the middle of the country, we have there's tornadoes, but right here on the East Coast where I'm located, I'm right now in Richmond, Virginia. I live in Martinsville, Virginia. I've got relatives in Hampton Roads, especially if you're in Hampton Roads, especially if you're in North Carolina, especially if you're in New Jersey or Delaware. I will help you market the value of what you're doing. I will help you set up in position. I will do it for free. The only catch is that you've got to like this message below. You've got to contact me so I know who you are, because these will be private calls. Now, why would I do this? Well, first off, it's how I help my family. See, this is strategic relations at its best. How do you help the people you care about most? Well, you help your family by building a community and a network of people who can respond to disaster situations. How do you protect your customers? You establish a system over the course of the year that educates them about safety related issues. It provides for them first before other people, and it establishes a network of value. How do you provide for cooperative partners, maybe subcontractors that have worked with you in the past, or prime contractors? Well, it means being financially, logistically, and uh, responsive, available for those who need you most. Now, I'm going to help you do those things because you know what I get out of it? I get a loyal client for life. In fact, that's how I've developed my hurricane marketing system that's designed specifically for contractors who want to secure business relationships in the face of disaster. And more importantly, if you've got a mindset that you'd rather be a victor instead of a victim. See, a lot of people want to be victims these days. They pull out their victim card and they're like a victim for this and a victim for that. You know what? We need some heroes. We need people who will step up in adverse situations, step up and do what is necessary in a storm event. If this is a category 4 storm, like the news is talking about, NPR is talking about it, CNN is talking about it. And of course, they're fire and brimstone. And then as soon as everything happens, the Democrats are going to want to, raise money to try to get votes. But I'm talking about Americans pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, being prepared for a storm. And I could tell you stories, man. We had a snowstorm the last 3 weeks, and we were prepared. We eventually moved all the food out of the refrigerator and freezer and put it out in the snow. We were eating beef stew and deer venison chili, and doing great. And we got back to school, and I heard the cries and gnashing of teeth of my friends. One of the satisfactions you'll have responding to this storm as a victor instead of a victim is that deep down satisfaction that while everybody else's stuff went to crap, you owned it. You didn't only own it, but you gained assets that cash flow. You were able to secure positions with your customers where other people could not. Imagine that I don't know if you heard the story, and I don't have it in front of me right now, but the story in New York when the power went out and they lost an entire hospital. What about the in Katrina when the nursing homes abandoned old people because the nursing homes were flooded? How would you like to be the hero that made that possible? In fact, the best thing to be is a non-event. I'll show you how to be a community hero. It is a little bit about ego because I'm going to work with you one-on-one. I'm going to work with you in small groups during the duration of the storm. And I'm going to be recording these materials, and I'm going to use these materials in enhancing the program that I have. And if you choose to be a part of this, um, I'm going to get a big kick out of the success stories that you're going to have. Now, we're going to amplify those success stories using public relations, using marketing. But think about the look on a child's face when first response, the medical services gets there and helps them out of a building that's fallen over. Think about the person rescued and saved who would not have otherwise gotten the right emergency services out there because their radio systems are down or their generator failed. Imagine the elderly who are able to weather out the storm in comfort, without fear. We can do this. We can work together to get this done. Now, there's going to be a lot of folks who sit on the sideline and gnash their teeth and talk about how, oh my gosh, Trump wrecked. They're already making fun of Trump right now. They're saying, oh, Trump's saying that Puerto Rico was a success, but these other people said it wasn't. Listen, I talk about inherent biases. I talk about critical thinking in my other programs. Right now, I'm talking about you being a hero, talking about you standing up in a community and lifting people up with you and enabling people around you to solve problems. There's nobody more effective at that than a contractor. All those white collar office workers, yeah, they can contribute financially and they make great customers. The affluent make great customers, but it is those who will take action that save lives. That's you. And by the way, if you will click the little like button below and subscribe to or whatever the hell it is down there. My assistant will gather up your information. You will want to visit www.commercialelectricalprofits.com. And in this corner down here, you'll see a little help button. You can ask me questions about how you can help your area. You can ask about the challenges that you're having, being ready for the storm. I will get you the very best resources and information I can make available to you. I will be there for those people who raise their hand and really sincerely want to make a difference in their community. Um, and I'm going to do it behind the scenes because we don't need all this stuff out in the public. And then it's because they will criticize you. Um, they will tear you down, even though you're building up the community, just because you covered your costs, that you charged your normal rates, or you've charged an inflated rate for emergency services. The bottom line is, though, after the storm's done, service contracts, contingency agreements, equipment upgrades and sales, there's a huge, huge opportunity afterwards, and they're going to buy the stuff from somebody. And guess what? If you are the right company and you're available and you can do the integration, you could be busy till the next year when the next storm comes, and this could be your legacy. The bottom line, folks, is a lot of folks are chicken. I hope you're not chicken. I hope you're not afraid to step up and be helpful. The politicians are going to moan and bitch and complain whether or not you do anything. I'd rather you be on the side of the victory, on the side of the people who lift up others, who restore power to communities, who make sure homes are safe, who make sure power systems are alive, make sure children understand the danger of downed power lines. They're not teaching that kind of stuff in school anymore. They're teaching a lot of BS, how many candy bars are on this sheet of paper. My kid's fifth grade stuff is garbage. We're homeschooling a lot of things because they're asking him to judge other people based on opinion before they truly understand the other person. Listen, if you've ever been in a storm in Southern Maryland where I lived, in Hampton Roads where I lived, I've been through storms, and any help is welcome. And the best help is the help that comes in, restores infrastructure, restore. I've worked in data centers that have had a couple. They had like 5 to 6 feet of water in them, and the company that pumped that system out, and the companies that came in and did their computer systems, and being able to fail over to another data center, man, all that stuff mattered. It mattered more than you can imagine. I want you to be the invisible behind the scenes worker. Now, we're going to collect information, and I'm going to show you how to tastefully promote the value you delivered to the community. But you know what? You're going to make a difference to every person in your community who you're helping. Like this below. Ask your questions below. Um, get involved. This storm is coming whether you like it or not. And if you miss out on this storm, hopefully you have enough money to rebuild, because it's going to get expensive. These things cost billions of dollars. Why not get your share? And I'm not talking about price raking and hiking pipe. I'm talking about fair value. Now, I do believe, and I'm going to wrap it up here shortly. I do believe you should get paid a fair value for emergency services. So you need to know how to calculate that rate and make sure you don't lose money, because it would be double disaster to have the storm destroy your home and community and then lose money on restoring your home and community and then end up going out of business. Then you won't be there for next year when the storms come again. These storms keep coming, and they're damaging more than ever before because some of our environmental infrastructure is not there. The big pine trees on the ocean that would absorb these storms 100 years ago are all cut down with condos and stuff. And we can talk about that another time. Right now, though, you're going to visit us at www.commercialelectricalprofits.com, and you're going to ask your questions, or in the little form below, you're going to like and ask your questions, and let's get that dialogue going. A group of people, especially those in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware. And then I might add additional groups depending on what the storm hits. But for this storm, I will work with you on teleconferences. I will work with you around the clock to make sure you've got everything that you need to set up local and regional command centers so that you can get your customers back online. Okay, that you can return that loyalty. And I know customers are not loyal, but if you get them back on their feet after a storm, they will be loyal. If you can get your community back online, they will be loyal. We're going to collect stories, and we're going to collect human interest stories, and I'm going to make sure your local media knows about it. I'm going to make sure the regional media knows about it. I'm going to make sure that they're writing about the heroes that have come in and made a difference. Now, a lot of this stuff is going to be using strategic relations and social engineering methodology. I just understand this is going to be tasteful, and this is going to be profitable, and this is going to have long-term benefit to your community. Would you like to be a part of that? Would you like to be a hero, a victor instead of a victim? Well, it's your turn to make a difference. Contact our offices. My assistant will gather up your questions. I'll answer as many of them as I can, and then we'll also have some. I'll show you the command center type calls where we're gonna work on dispatch. One of the things that before we go, if we can connect you with people that are in those areas that have service needs, then they'll refer a business, and then you can do cooperative partnerships. You can work under each other's licenses. You can work under different types of insurance arrangements. You do want to make sure your umbrella policies are up to date. You want to make sure your insurance is up to date. You want to make sure all your computer systems are backed up, because if you're in the storm area, it could be just as easy you, the victim, as it could be somebody else. But look, let's flip that over, and you be the victor, and you lift up other people and let them go to victory. And together we can make, I almost wanted to say it, make America great again. But guess what? That storm comes. It doesn't care if it's America. It doesn't care if it's India. It doesn't care if it's China. It just cares that it tears the hell out of everything. We're not going to let that storm get the best of us. That storm is your enemy. And whatever it does, I'm going to help you get up there and get back on your feet. Get your emergency. First, start with your first responders, emergency services. Then you're going to start with your medical centers, hospitals, any of your key infrastructure. And then once your key infrastructure is done, you start with your commercial businesses. And then you ask me questions. I'll help you out. Thanks for listening. I'm Justin Hitt with Commercial Electrical Profits. Again, hit me up with your questions below. I got a little bit of free time now, but over the next couple of days, I'll have my staff check in, and we'll answer as many of the questions as you have as possible. Thanks for watching.